My name is Stephanie Broussard, and I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Recruitment here at Lamar University. Um, we are here this morning to discuss the Masters in Environmental Engineering, Civil Engineering, and Environmental Studies. Thank you for joining us today. We have several different students here today, from inquiries to the program, to students that maybe have applied in the past, to current undergraduate students that are possibly interested in this program. So we're going to try to answer everyone's questions. So just know that the audience is pretty diverse. Um, we have a wonderful presenter here today, Dr. Liv Haselbach. Please forgive me if I messed that up.
You did.
Okay.
I'll fix it.
Okay, thank you. So she's going to get started with us today. She's going to kind of go through the program and kind of give you some of the requirements and some of the great things happening in the program. If you could, please, if you have any questions throughout this program, please send them in the chat. You can send them to me personally or privately, or you can just send them to everybody in the chat. Either way, we're going to try to get your questions answered at the end of the session so that she can go through her whole session. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Also, keep in mind, if you're interested, thank you for joining us today. We will be sending out some thank you stickers and some little thank you gifts. So if you're interested in receiving one of those, please make sure that you drop your email address in the chat so that I can follow up with you for a physical address. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to you, Dr. Liv. Let me go ahead and put your presentation up.
Thank you, Stephanie. So I go by Dr. Leave. My first name is pronounced Leave. It's a Scandinavian name. It has a unique pronunciation. So thank you very much. Do you want to go ahead and put it in slideshow? Thank you. So we have in our department technically 4 different master's programs. ME or MES in civil engineering is either a 30-hour coursework or a 30-hour thesis, one with a civil engineering focus. We have the Masters of Science in Environmental Engineering, and we also have a complementary environmental studies master's. And the first 3 of them are basically for people with engineering degrees, or the MS in environmental engineering. Some people come into it with the science or other degrees, but they have deficiencies, about a year of extra classes to catch up. Environmental studies is welcome for anyone with science, math, and other backgrounds. Could you go, oh, and my contact information is right there. Feel free to email me if you have questions. So what's civil and environmental engineering? Basically, we build the world around us. Your drinking water, your clean waterways, your beaches, the air, the structures for bridges and buildings and dams and other parts of the infrastructure, roadways, railways, marine highways, resource conservation, soil stabilization, sustainable resilient infrastructure. And as I said, we build the world. In it, there's a lot of sub-disciplines, so it's a very diverse field, and our courses are arranged in that diversity: structural, geotech, environmental, water resources, construction, transportation. So because of this, our degree plans are very flexible, and we mainly teach skills to solve different complex problems for the world built around you, are the services that we need for our stormwater management, waste control, transportation systems, and clean water and air. And you'll see the flexibility as we go along. Well, where do they work? So a lot of them work in consulting or construction. A lot of them work in the public sector, which is where the word civil comes from. So we have people working for the federal government, such as the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the EPA, and a lot of them work for state agencies like TxDOT, the Department of Transportation, or Commission on Environmental Quality. And a lot of them work for local cities, counties, and towns in the public works. So the director of public works or your city engineer, they're civil engineers. And all major corporations need some civil and environmental engineers because, you know, corporations do have infrastructure associated with them, whether it's the pipelines in the oil and gas industry, the electric transmission lines, or buildings and other facilities, and then obviously environmental. And just so you know that our college ranked number 5 for return on investment according to pay scale for the Bachelor's of Science 20 years later. What your earnings could be. So it's pretty well respected. Our undergraduate graduates have been for many decades now. So why Lamar? Well, a lot of students participate in internships prior to graduation. There's a high demand for the graduates, and a lot of the students help faculty with research activities. This is Dr. Zhao and some students out there looking to see how the huge tankers erode the sides of the roadways that are on the land next to it. So let's talk about these graduate programs that we have. As I said, for someone more focused in civil engineering, and that would be everything other than the environmental. And if you only want water, or you're more interested in transportation, or more interested, you know, in materials or structures. The Master's of Engineering has a 30 semester hour program. And the Master of Engineering Science, 6 of the credit hours will be a thesis option. We have right now many hybrid course delivery options available. We're not a straight online program, and we're not sure how the fall is going to come about and what face-to-face options will be available. But all of our professors have the capability of doing like a synchronous thing where they're teaching through one of the online platforms, either Blackboard or Adobe Connect, with a synchronous one where the students can have questions and answers, just like what we're doing right now. And with it, we also understand that there may be some difficulties this fall because some students are far away, maybe in their home country, and haven't been able to come back yet. And with that, there might be a time difference. So with that, you could work out with your professor if there's for instance, a discussion group that may be at a time more convenient for one-on-one questions through one of these media. So we try to be flexible with that, but we love to have the synchronous ones where you can see the other students in your class and have the feel of the face-to-face environment as best as we can during this pandemic. If you're a Lamar Bachelor's of Science student, you can qualify for 6 credit hours dual credit. And there's multiple scholarship opportunities with that. So I'm not sure if any people who are current Lamar BS students from civil engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, you know, similar fields of that interested in going more into the civil portion that's there. Next, so in environmental engineering, we have both of them can be either thesis or 30 credit hours of coursework. And so what we basically expect, and why I'm saying that these are flexible, is we expect the students, whether it's environmental engineering or environmental studies, to take at least 5 courses that are more environmentally focused. And those ones are offered such that someone with a science degree or an engineering degree can take those classes. Someone who's at least had some calculus and college chemistry, they're designed for that. And a lot of the people that are going for the civil degree will take some of these courses too. One of them I offer is in green engineering, and it's a very popular course for people, not just in civil engineering, but I've had people, mechanical engineers, and I've had computer science people take it over the years, and other people. And then with that, you can go more into what you want. So if you're an engineer and you want to take more of our water resources courses or certain transportation courses because you'd like to work more with that, you may. Or if you want to take some more sciences, that's optional too, for the especially for the environmental studies. We do encourage a lot of the students to take the GIS courses over in the geology department, because whether you're an environmental engineer, a water resource engineer, a transportation engineer, GIS skills are really important. If you're non-engineers and you still want to go for the engineering degree, as I said, there's approximately 9 undergraduate deficiency courses that will need to be taken. Some already have taken many of them, some haven't, but in order to then go into more of our engineering water type courses or the other more engineering-based courses, you really should have some of these. And that gets you in a position for maybe licensure in the future, depending on the state and the qualifications needed. And again, Lamar Bachelor of Science students can qualify for 6 credit hour dual credit from their undergraduate degree. I do want to mention that for our civil engineering program, it's fairly flexible too. We're a fairly small university, and therefore we don't have a huge menu of courses, but with it, you professors all know you and you get to know the students. And even in this weird virtual world, we try to keep connections with them a lot. So as I said, a lot of the students that prefer more GI, more civil focus will also take some of the environmental courses or mix and match based on what they're most interested in. And I'm done. So with that, I will take any questions. Stephanie, were there any questions?
Let's see, let me get there. Let me stop sharing and let me see if we have anything. So one question we have is, can you describe the delivery of hybrid? Like, so what exactly does that mean? So does that mean like 2 classes on campus, or, throughout the term? What does that mean?
So normally during normal circumstances, and I've taught a class last fall, that was actually, I helped with the class that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers taught last fall. They taught with professors out, with PhD doctors out of their research center in Vicksburg, Mississippi. And it's a new program where the Army Corps of Engineers, when they build storm protection and all this, they also like to have use natural resources as much as they can, maybe oyster things to help with the barriers and things like that. So it's a unique thing. And we did it all through Adobe Connect, and the lectures were streamed live, and we had most students in the classroom, and we had a webcam in there, and they could talk back and forth, or they could chat, or some of the students weren't available at all times to be in Beaumont, so they would be virtual just like the speakers. And we've put our courses that way, so that when I say synchronous, is we prefer not to have something just straight recorded and then you listen to it. Instead, we like to have it a virtual thing like this, synchronous at the same time we can talk back and forth. Most of us put it on a PowerPoint, so the PowerPoint's available anytime, whether you have been able to attend the class synchronously or not. And then some of the professors actually also put a recording on top of their PowerPoints, but that is based on need, to put it, and have a recording for it, for a student that misses it or wants to do another time. But with it, we all have office hours, and the office hours, normally our synchronous hybrid would be a classroom, and then sometimes people can't make it in, or there's lectures not making it in. So we always have someone who can watch it live from somewhere else. It looks like that's going to be more the classes in the fall than fewer of the students. So we are all of our graduate offerings will have that virtual option with some synchronous for it. But if you are in a different time zone, we can see if we can work out a discussion group at a more convenient time.
Okay. We have another question. It says, can you describe the percentage criteria of bachelor's degree for MES or ME?
I don't understand what a percentage criteria means.
I'm assuming maybe because one of them is thesis and non-thesis, correct?
Oh, okay. So the difference between that is really, they're taking all the same class.
I'm just assuming, just so you know.
Okay, between the thesis or the non-thesis. So sometimes faculty are working on a research project and a student's interested in it. So they'll do 2 of their courses will be a thesis associated with that research project. But I can tell you that actually the majority of students go for the coursework only, because the coursework only, we now have an accelerated program with just 30 credit hours. You can do it in 12 months. And one of the things we do is we make sure in the summer that we have graduate courses. We've offered for this summer 2 more environmentally focused and 2 more civil focused, although, as I said, some people are taking all of them. And so with the 12 months there, you can graduate in 12 months if you want to. And if you don't and want to mainly just go fall and spring semesters and take 2 years, you can. If you go thesis, the thesis is 6 credit hours, but you know, you put in the extra time to write a thesis. It's typical. Some of the thesis students are doing some research on the side that has some pay associated with it, and some are not. So, you know, it's up to the time that they want to put into it, and if they're getting pay associated with it, they're putting in the hours to get paid in addition to it. So that depends on the interest of the students, the interest of the faculty, and the availability of funding.
Okay. Can students apply for your program year round? So do you take students spring, summer, fall, or is it just fall? I know some
Yeah,
programs.
we take them year round, and you know, we understand, we don't have these hard deadlines like March 15th for the fall or things like that. We welcome students at most any time. When classes start, though, I'm pretty strict about if you miss a whole after 1 week of classes, you miss it, you sort of can't get there. But as I've said, we understand the travel restrictions right now and the availability of that, and we will make sure that all graduate school students have a virtual option like this.
Okay. What about the GRE? Is the GRE still being waived for your engineering program? I think
All right. So if you went all the time, not just now during the pandemic, but if you went to you have an undergraduate degree from an ABET accredited engineering program, whatever one, we always waive the GRE. Lamar students, we waive the GRE at all times. And during the pandemic now, the GRE is waived for all people being admitted this fall.
Okay.
I know that there's very few testing centers that are open at this time, so it makes no sense.
And I know that you mentioned during the PowerPoint that if a student didn't have a background in engineering, they would have to take at least 9 credit prerequisite
Yeah, so
hours.
that's for the environmental study. Well, the environmental studies you can go into with a science background, a math background, whatever. We just recommend that you have some calculus and some chemistry to be successful. But if you would like to get an engineering degree and you don't have an undergraduate engineering degree, there is a list of 9 deficiency classes. They are basically the 4 maths from Calc 1 through differential equations, physics, chemistry, of which many people already have many of them. I can't name them all. I think engineering economics, another one's fluid mechanics and statics. So there's a couple of core engineering classes that our undergrads take, but a lot of them are the math classes. And with that, then you have a degree that has fulfilled a lot of the background expected of someone who might work as an engineer later on.
Okay. What type of research opportunities are available?
Well, right now we have several doctoral students working on research activities, but we have a handful of master's students working this summer. We have a huge program in flood resiliency that we're doing. One of the students is helping a professor with the GIS, geographical information, system, putting in data for flooding that has happened in the area. Another student is working with our water resource professor to understand how much sediment down our rivers is affecting our ports. And apparently they spend millions of dollars every year to get that sediment dredged out of there. I have a student working with me on the flood thing. Mainly he's helping me put together the management of it. So it's more of a coordination one. We have some students tend to work with our materials professor on a lot of concrete research, and I myself do a lot of concrete research. So I've had several undergrads, masters, and doctoral students making pervious concrete and seeing how it affects the environment over the years. Then there's usually a student or two helping in the geotech lab at the same time. And as I said, the transportation engineering professor, he does a lot of the GIS studies, not just on flooding, but on ship channels and stoplight controls and things like that. So that just gives you some idea of what the studies. And then, of course, we have some environmental studies on algae for removing pollutants and other things like that.
Okay. That sounds interesting. You're making me want to jump into one of these classes. Because I know everything in the future is pretty much going into sustainability and
So
everything.
just so you know, a lot of our environmental courses are sustainability focused. We have green engineering, which is the green buildings, environmental life cycle assessment, and then that unique course that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we're the first engineering program in the country that they're actually teaching the class for. So it's their way to build protection along our coastlines and our riverways, and taking care of the environment at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, here's another question. Are structural engineering courses available this fall?
Yeah, so the structural engineering area is one that we don't have many classes in at this time. One of the things, just like everybody else in the pandemic, is we've not been allowed to hire additional professors. We have a couple of things. If you were not a Lamar undergrad, we do have the option to do a graduate course in reinforced concrete design. And our undergrads have already taken their version of it, so that's why it's for other students. And on this fall, the courses, then there's the GIS course, engineering and GIS, so that is not as much of a structural focus. There's a hydraulic systems course, there's a water treatment class, and then the engineering with nature from the Corps. So we are at this time not strong in the structural aspects. And again, the future, we're hoping that we can hire again and build up that section too. We're stronger in water, environment, transportation, and materials.
Okay. Can students with backgrounds in sciences, especially chemistry, and don't really have a strong calculus background, thrive in the MCS environmental studies? What are some likely challenges?
Well, we just recommend that you at least take Calc 1. And that's because a lot of the environmental models are based on simple differential equations kind of calculus. And we have had this year, we have students from forestry, students from environmental science, students from chemistry, students from industrial technology, all in our environmental program. Some are going for environmental studies, and some of them opted to take the additional math classes and go for the engineering degree. And most of them are pretty successful. It's been a very diverse and great group of people that have come in. We specifically do it that way because the future's got to be interdisciplinary. And I can tell you, like in the engineering with nature class, there's lectures on the coastal engineering and they blow you away. It's like, wow, that's hard. And then there's all these lectures on ecology, and for the engineers it blows them away. But you know, they bring them together so they have a language together for it. And even in my green engineering class, you know, one of the chapters is on energy. So for a mechanical engineer, that's easy. For a civils, it's not. And then we have a water section. For the civils, it's easy. For the mechanical engineers, there's not. So we understand that if the focus is more sustainability, it has to be interdisciplinary, and we try to make it rigorous enough, but understandable enough for a wide range of students.
Well, that kind of goes to the next question. The next question was, how competitive is your program?
Yeah, so yeah, we expect grad students to do a good job. You know, so you got to come to class and you got to do the work and you got to participate. And you know, it's like a typical thing. If you come to class and do the minimal, you'll probably get a C. But if you come to class and do all your work, you'll most likely get a B. And you have to do a really good job to get the A. And that's typical master's degrees in engineering colleges. So, and we understand that a lot of people like to hire our grads because it is rigorous enough for them to expect the grads to have a solid background.
Okay, just a few more questions. This question just came in. What are some of the places that students have participated with internships? Because I know you said that they participate before. So what are some of the placement places that students have gone?
Okay, so we don't personally place them. They come to us and hire. Most of our undergrads, by the time they're a junior, have some sort of internship, either working part-time during the year or during the summers. They've interned with the Texas Department of interned with consulting firms throughout the area. They interned down at the city of Beaumont. And then the grad students, a lot of them pick that up also, and they've been the same thing. They've been interning with consulting firms. If they're an international student, it's a little bit restrictive on whether they can be hired or not. But last summer, one of our international students interned with the Tennessee Department of Transportation, and he just got a job offer from Caltrans. We have people interning with the Army Corps of Engineers, with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and it goes on, and construction firms too. Yeah, so it just depends on, you know, it's much easier if you're a domestic student, because the visa requirements and all those legal paperwork, but there are some opportunities for the international students to also get jobs.
Okay. Does your program require resumes, letters of recommendation, references?
No,
Okay.
no. Normal application with the GRE currently waived for everyone for this fall.
Okay.
So, it's based on GPAs and what degrees you've gotten before and all.
Okay. Let's see. Got a few here. Do you know the cost of your program?
Stephanie, you're probably better on this. What's the so out-of-state tuition is higher, but
Yeah.
most applicants, we give something called the graduate scholarship, which is $1,000 a year. And if you get that graduate scholarship, then you're eligible for in-state tuition. And in-state tuition for a 3-credit course tends to be about $1,200 for a course, something like that.
Yeah, about right under like 14, 15, right underneath there.
For 3 credits?
Yeah, let me see. And we also, for that question that just came in, we also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We also have a place on our website. It's under admissions, and you can go to cost and tuition calculator, and you can scroll down to the bottom. And like Dr. Leave had mentioned, there's a in-state and out-of-state calculator, so you can kind of, you know, do the math. I'm gonna share my screen, but sometimes of course, the Zoom always acts a little funny. So just for that question that just came in, it's called tuition and fee estimates, and you can scroll down to the bottom. So 1 credit hour for a resident is $15.44.
1 credit hour?
1 credit hour is $15.44, 3 credit hour course. And of course,
a 3 credit hour course, yeah. Okay.
So of course, you know, with being a public institution, things kind of go up each year, but I mean, that's just kind of a basic estimate of what you're looking at. Let me see. What else do we have? Did you talk about scholarship opportunities? I know you kind
Yeah,
of
we do have some scholarship opportunities, and with it, our scholarships, you have to have at least a 3.25 GPA. So the students with a higher GPA or LR are encouraged to ask about it. And we have been able to fund a bunch of students, some of them a couple of $1,000 scholarship at a time. So just ask about it if you have a high GPA.
Does your program have a fast track?
Yeah, it is fast. It is fast. The 30 credit hour is fast track in the sense that you can get a master's in 1 year because we offer courses in the summer, fall, and spring. So it's very easy to do. You know, you need 10 classes. You can do 2, 4, 4, 3, 3, 4. And then if you are a Lamar undergrad, there's the option for the dual counting. But yeah, a lot of the international students like to stay for 1.5 to 2 years because it gives them more opportunities to look for internships and possible opportunities for optional practical training after they graduate.
Okay. And to kind of piggyback off that question about scholarships, for students that are current undergraduate LU students, we also offer the Continuing Cardinal Scholarship. So that scholarship is exclusively for students that graduate with a Lamar degree, and so you have to graduate with at least a 3.0 GPA. You have to start graduate school within 2 semesters of graduating. So if you just graduated this May, then you would have to have started in the summer or the fall, this upcoming fall. You have to also participate or apply and be accepted to an on-campus program. So hybrid does qualify. The scholarship is for $2,000. So it kind of helps students transition into their graduate program a little bit more easily. So you would get $1,000 for the first semester and then $1,000 for the second semester. And then by that time, it is our hope that you have, kind of maneuvered your way through different scholarships through your department to help supplement you for those costs. But it's kind of our way to help students from our undergraduate programs transition into our graduate programs. So if you're interested in that scholarship, please feel free to reach out to me. If you're a current LU student and you're about to graduate this summer and you're looking for this program in the fall, or maybe you're looking for it in the spring because you're going to graduate this summer, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll send you more information on that.
And I also wanted to mention that we have many students who switch back and forth. Like someone might come in for environmental studies and really like it and then decide to take the other courses and stay on instead for environmental engineering. And then there's some people who switch between civil and environmental, either direction. Some people want more civil classes or they prefer the civil degree, and some of them want more the environmental focus. So those things, that's very easy to do. It usually just requires my signature.
You're with the civil engineering, they have a doctoral degree, correct?
Yeah, we have a doctor of engineering, and it's civil. You can have a civil focus or environmental focus. It doesn't matter, but our department does offer that too.
Okay.
So some people stay on and keep on going.
Okay. So this is going to be, let me see, let me scroll down. This is going to be our last question. Because I don't see any more coming through. So the last question is, oh goodness, I keep losing it. I have a background in criminal justice. So would I be successful in this program? And I guess that kind of goes back to having those prerequisite courses. And
yeah, so criminal justice. So what we say, if you're coming in from a non-science or math major, you really need to take calculus and college general chemistry and see how successful you are with those. If you're successful with those two, then as our environmental studies program is the courses that we focus more on environmental are made so that with those two backgrounds, you can be pretty successful. Now, some of the students, I just had one person who's graduating soon, and he came in from more of an industrial technology background with a lot of management classes. So he had approximately 6 environmental courses and about 4 management courses, because environmental management's a big thing too. You work in industry and all. So we don't exclude people that have, other backgrounds. Someone who's more of a business, learning the technical aspects of it and some business things are great. So we're pretty flexible with that. But you really need to make sure you understand, Calc 1 and chemistry.
Okay. And the kind of follow-up question for that was, will you substitute any work experience? Because that particular person said that they had like 5 years to 7 years experience in TxDOT, something like that. So
no, but we'd love to have TxDOT engineers come take more classes with us.
Okay.
Or TxDOT employees. No, work experience doesn't count for any of this.
Okay. So that is the last of our question. That was our last question. If you are interested in applying for this program, the first step that you would want to do is to go to applytexas.org and submit your application. We are still taking applications for fall and spring, and I think the summer and the summer 2021 and the fall 2021 will, I think that will start after August if you're interested that far ahead. But we're currently taking applications for fall 2020 and spring 2021. If you have any questions throughout the application process, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is sbroussard11@lamar.edu. Also, we have a video on our lamar.edu visit page that kind of goes step by step of how to apply for a graduate program. There's a how-to video of how to apply and Apply Texas, just in the event that you need, further assistance if you're doing it late at night or something, and you kind of have some questions to go through. It goes step by step of how to apply, how to answer the questions in the Apply Texas application. So please feel free to look into that if you have any additional questions. If you have any curriculum-based research kind of questions, please feel free to reach out to Dr. Leave, and she will follow up with you. Let me see if I can get your email on here real quick, just as we close out.
Yeah, that's on the PowerPoint, the first slide, Haselbach@lamar.edu, if you want to look at that first slide. Yep.
So if you have any questions for her, please make sure that you do follow it with her. If you have any questions for me, you can follow with me directly, or you can pass them to me and I can pass them to her. Either way, we'll get your questions answered. I do thank you, Dr. Lee, for everything that you've put together today. You make me want to go jump in and get a civil engineering degree, but I know my math and my science skills are not that strong. So I do appreciate you spending time with us and answering all these great questions for us.
Thank you, Stephanie. Bye, everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.